pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. And there was an approval of rejection of claim for damages for Cassandra Williams. The motion was made by Diane Grooms, second by Dwayne Wynn, and the vote was 4-0. Okay, next we have our student discipline. Approval of expulsion of student number 710-33745. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Keith Giles.
Second.
Second by Diane Grooms. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And next, we'd like to welcome everyone to our school board meeting. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Bart Hoffman.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we will go over our enrollment report brought to us by Rebecca Cooksey, Assistant Superintendent of Innovation and Technology.
Good evening, Board. As of today, for our TK through 8th grade students, we have 13,989 students. In ECE, we have 539. This is for a grand total of 14,528 students. This is a loss of 17 from our last board report, but a gain of 293 from the same time last year.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And do we have any other informational items?
Nothing else to report this evening. Thank you.
That brings us to our Red Ribbon Award winners.
Presenting that this evening will be Dr. Jordan Goins.
Presentation. Yes. Brandon?
Sorry about that.
Perfect. Thanks, man. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for your patience. Really, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to be able to come out here and be able to do this provide this wonderful opportunity to our students. So with that said, got a little something I wanted to share with you. And I know that a couple of our board members have had students who have had some beautiful pictures provided and put on walls and put in beautiful places, then put on billboards to be able to be celebrated throughout the city of Lancaster. And we had the opportunity to do it again, and this time we get the opportunity to be able to provide some things to people in person. So, Lancaster School District Board, Cabinet, members of the Lancaster community, and audience here, I want to say good evening. Thank you so much for coming out to support your students and bringing them with you to be able to take care and be able to really see what's good, some of the good things going on in our district. So my name is Dr. Jordan Goins. I'm the Director of Special Programs here in Lancaster, and tonight I have the pleasure of presenting to you the winners of this year's Red Ribbon Week celebration. But before I do, I want to make a point that this work and the emphasis of this program would not be possible without the support of truly the whole special programs family in Lancaster School District and really the district as a whole, and be able to make this happen. With the specific efforts, I want to make sure that this person is highlighted, of my secretary, Miss Yolanda Cortez, who is an amazing advocate of making sure that this happens. The Red Ribbon Week celebration is the oldest and largest drug prevention program in the nation, reaching millions of young people during Red Ribbon Week, which begins on October 23rd and runs through October 31st of each year. This is an ideal way for communities to unite and take a visible stand against drugs, promoting the healthy lifestyles that we in Lancaster espouse to. The Lancaster School District would like to honor the students who took part in Red Ribbon Week festivities this year between October 23rd and October 31st. The theme of this Red Ribbon Week this past year was called Drug Free Like Me. You're going to get to see some really awesome pictures from some kids. As you will recall, in Lancaster, we take a strong liking to the arts, and this year's no different. We still take a liking to the arts, and because of that, we really have promoted some really good artwork for this year and have posted it in some very prominent places. Our winners are going to be receiving a couple of prizes and a certificate for having provided such beautiful artwork. And 3 lucky students who have had their artwork put on display on billboards within our community. As I provide you an overview of all the great pictures that students created this year, I want you to take a special note to the sites where students were coming from, as I really would like to recognize the fact that the sites put a lot of effort. All of our sites put a lot of effort into getting the word out to our students and really showing that they wanted to make sure that they wanted to be able to showcase students' work. These students went the extra mile. All of the students in this room today went the extra mile to provide some beautiful pictures of their artwork, and on top of being just the excellent students that they are. So I'm gonna take a second. I'm gonna start the show, and I'm gonna show you a couple of beautiful pieces of art. I can already see the anticipation. I think I've built enough anticipation for the board, so and the audience. So we're gonna make this happen right now. So this is coming from Mr. Aaron Yarrow from Westwind Elementary School. It says, "I am drug free." This is Amaya Michelle Nunley from Miller Elementary, 1st grade. This is our 1st grade winner. Emma Rojas Cardenas from Jack Northrop Elementary, 2nd grade. Drug free looks like me. I want to highlight in this the use of color. I'm going to be an art critique right now and just highlight the beautiful color that's being used. I know this because of Teal and all the art trainings that I've had. Drug Free Looks Like Me, again by Mia Natalie Martinez from Lincoln Elementary, 3rd grade. Emmanuel Lozano, again from Jack Northrop, wow. 4th grade. This one, our office really wanted to make sure that I said, look at the diversity that you see around the world and see how this is built around that. It's one of the things that we wanted to make sure was brought out. There was a beautiful picture that we thought, another beautiful picture. Caddy Carmeni Gutierrez from Mariposa, 5th grade. Excited, truly happy to be drug free, and we need to be drug free just like her. And this one was really interesting because you see that there's in a world that you could be considered to be broken, you still have beauty coming from it. Tell me that doesn't say something for 2022. From Brianna Rose Calhoun from Amargosa Creek. Drug Free Looks Like Me from Maria Dominique Begonia, Amargosa Creek, 7th grade. Beautiful, beautiful picture, and really well. Even the shading was in my wife looked at that one and she was taken aback by the shading on that one. And then Drug Free Looks Like Me, Kylie Sophia Razzo from Amargosa Creek, 8th grade. These are your winners today. So with that said, for our 2021-22 school year winners, I just want to point out what you're going to be seeing. They're going to be receiving a beautiful certificate with a copy of their picture framed specially, beautiful, and a signed certificate that really shows off the work that they've done, as well as, that's not all, a wonderful packet of that we were able to pick up. So we know when we're in the 21st, this is the 21st century, right, Mr. Conti? Thank you very much, sir. So as being that this is the 21st century, everybody here needs headphones, and we bought headphones for kids or earbuds for kids. You know, money's money. We got headphones. We were able to get headphones. We also brought in pieces. We brought in pencil sharpeners, pencils. They're all coming from the whole organization of with the whole theme of being drug free, like me, and being able to point that out. So with that said, I'm going to call some students up. You're going to come up, and then you're just going to come back. You're just going to go sit down. You're going to come receive this, and then sit back down. We'll make sure that we keep you as safe as possible. The first student is going to be from Westwind Elementary School, grade K, kindergarten, Mr. Aaron Niero. From Miller, we have Ms. Zamaya Nunley. We recognize that there's going to be students that won't be here tonight, so. Lincoln, third grade, we have Ms. Mia Martinez. From Mariposa, we have Ms. Caddy Gutierrez. Then we have Ms. Brianna Calhoun, Amargosa, sixth grade. Here we go. We got one here. There's something. We have Maria Begonia, Amargosa Creek, seventh grade. So, want to make a point. Ms. Maria Begonia actually has also was one of the Billboard winners. So she was presented beautifully across the Lancaster on K8 and 10th Street. I'm sure you all saw it because I took a picture in front of it and I said, we did that. So one of her picture was actually up there for that. Then we have Kylie Arazo. Eighth grade from Amargosa Creek. There you go. I got two more. And again, these two also were Billboard winners. We have Emma Cardenas, Jack Northrop, second grade. And finally, Emmanuel Lozano, Jack Northrop, fourth grade. So anybody who wasn't able to be here tonight, we're going to send their little packet of goodies on to their school site. Here we have a lot of families here tonight, so which is good. It's good to be able to see people out and be up and about doing things. So on behalf of the Lancaster School District, I would also, before I leave this stage, I would like to thank Lamar Advertising for sponsoring our district and providing the boards for us to be able to do this work and showcase our students' artwork. We are so grateful here in Lancaster for the relationships that we have with our community partners, and we know that they take pride in the happiness that is given to our children when they can see their artwork on full display in the public's view. I take a personal note on this one because I received a phone call from a parent who was saying how, midst of some tough times, being able to see their kids' artwork was like normalizing almost. And then that was one family, and then another family who sat there and said that it brought tears to their eyes because it was good, and they thought it was good, and those are the moving stories that you get to hear. So on behalf of the Lancaster School District Department of Special Programs, I think we should all congratulate these winners with a huge round of applause. So let's congratulate our winners. And for all the students that took part in this, thank you and have a wonderful evening. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this.
Thank you, Mr. Goins, and thank you, staff and teachers. for all the fantastic Red Ribbon Week programs and for carrying on the tradition of drug-free here in the Lancaster School District. And great job, students, and great job, parents, for all your support at home. We really appreciate you being here and being able to display your students' artwork throughout our community. It makes us proud, and it's just a fantastic way to share the Red Ribbon Week activities. So thank you so much for coming and taking part, and congratulations for a job well done. Great job. Okay, next we're gonna go to School Board's Recognition Month.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teepee. It's not often that we have an opportunity. It's exciting to recognize staff members and definitely exciting to recognize some of our students. We haven't had an opportunity to do that in person in quite some time, but it isn't often that we have an opportunity to acknowledge and recognize the efforts of our board members. Tonight, we have an opportunity to do just that. January, we celebrate School Board's Recognition Month. So we've got something, because I know you have that special space on a wall somewhere at your house, just waiting for this. But this evening, each of our board members will be receiving a certificate for School Board Recognition Month. And it reads, "For your dedicated leadership in public education and continuing service to the children of this community. Thank you for your extraordinary service in helping Lancaster School District children thrive." Again, we cannot thank you enough. And this month, and every month, but especially this month, is an opportunity for us to recognize you for your efforts and your commitment and dedication to our community. And I'm going to get up and hand these to you really quickly. Taking the short.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Brown, you're welcome. Mrs. Brown, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. These are fantastic, and we're honored to serve on the school board. So we appreciate this very, very much. Okay, that concludes our recognition this evening. And next, we're going to go to presentations, and we'll start with addressing the board. Board members will be utilizing electronic devices during the meeting to access the online agenda, and an electronic device may be used to record this meeting. Individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker card and present it to the superintendent's secretary. The board president shall recognize individuals who wish to speak. Individuals wishing to present testimony to the board concerning specific items on the agenda may do so once that item has been moved, seconded, and is on the floor for discussion. Time limits of 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes per item shall be allowed, and according to board bylaws. Board members may ask questions for clarification purposes. However, no action may be taken and no discussion may take place on an item not on the posted agenda, according to the Brown Act. And we'll start with comments from PTA.
We have no requests from PTA this evening.
CSCA,
No requests this evening.
TAL,
No comments this evening.
and any comments from the audience?
We do have speaker cards, so I will call them, try to get them in the order that I received them. Our first request is coming from Christine Parkinson.
Am I good? Okay. Hello, my name is Christine Parkinson. I raised my two children here and have volunteered multiple hours in the elementary schools. What we are witnessing today is nothing less than child abuse on the part of our school principals and board members. Excuse me. The masks that you have required our children to wear these past 2 years are anything but effective. Studies have shown that the COVID virus is much smaller than the protection that the cloth or surgical mask can offer. The mask I wear tonight represents its effectiveness from COVID. The virus passes through it as if it's a chain link fence. You forced yourselves upon our impressionable children and made them wear masks that the CDC only recently admitted what we already knew, that they don't work. So now they recommend an N95. And don't think I don't notice that only 3 of you are wearing an N95. I can understand some of your responses following CDC guidelines. As a healthcare professional, I followed them for 30 years. Only pre-COVID, the mask was for my protection, no one else's. It was my PPE. COVID hits, and that's done. The narrative changed. I challenge each of you to wear an N95 mask and sit in a classroom. Can you hear that, teacher? Can you hear that little boy on the other side of the room asking a question? Do you think that shy little Susie that sits in the back of the classroom will speak up and say she can't hear? Say she doesn't understand what is being taught? No, she will sit quietly and fall behind, just as data has shown. I also challenge you to go play a recess as a child with an N95 mask on. How long will it take before you pass out? Minutes? So why are we willing to have our children suffer through this? As a reminder, children have a higher than 99% survival rate from COVID. So to validate it by making a child wear a mask to protect others is the same as seeing a rape occurring and saying, well, at least it's not my child. I implore you to make a stand and say enough is enough. Be our children's advocates as you once were, as I know you can be. Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mark. And Mark, I'm going to apologize if I don't get your last name exactly. Not. You're going to have to help me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Martin Napolitano, and I've been a resident of the Antelope Valley for 34 years. And I want to thank you guys for allowing us the opportunity to come up and present what we would like to speak to you guys about tonight. My child is a student, not in this district, but she's a student in another district. And I have been speaking out there. I have been speaking out at other board meetings as well. And I just wanted to quickly, I read this earlier today, but this is Lancaster School District's mission statement. The mission of the Lancaster School District is to provide a relevant, high-quality education within an inclusive and culturally respectful environment, preparing all students for personal and professional success. Our vision is to create options and excellence in education, empowering all students to reach their full potential. District beliefs. We believe higher expectations result in higher achievement. We believe in treating everyone with respect. We believe every person has unique strengths. We believe that public education is an essential part of our democratic society. We believe that everyone in the Lancaster community shares in the responsibility of and benefits from educating our children. We believe in personal responsibility and accountability. We believe children have the right to live and learn in a safe and secure community. We believe all children can learn. We believe all children have the right to a quality education in an environment free of racism and any other form of discrimination. We believe that open and honest communication builds trusting relationships with all members of our community. And I have done some research that I do believe the California Department, State of Education, states that a child only needs to be in school for 3 hours per day for 175 or 180 calendar days out of the year. Now, mind you, 2 years ago, if anybody from the Department of Social Services or Child Protective Services walked into my house and saw my daughter with a mask over her face, I would probably be prosecuted for child abuse. Right now, we need you guys, council members, board members, to be the voice of our children and stand up against the Department of Health. And in turn, we will stand up and fight with and for your teachers and staff. I believe we are actually limiting our children's developmental skills, motor skills, and such for younger children's as well. Yeah, I believe you guys should take a stand and listen to what the other parents here have to say, and you will see that a lot of us are sick and tired of the stuff that's getting spewed out of the Department of County Health. Things continue to change drastically. You know, the CDC, everybody's going back on what they said 2 years ago. It's like it's just a giant. You guys should step forward, put your foot down, and say, we're not going to do this. We're not going to continue. Us as your community has your support. We have your back. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you very much. My next speaker is Mario Presents.
Good evening, board. My name is Mario Presents. I'm a local content creator and activist. At the onset of this lockdown, I was compliant. But when 2 weeks became 2 months and today we're at 2 years, I'm much more skeptical. The vaccinated are fearful of a disease that kills only the most vulnerable or those who are with comorbidities. With today's intersectionality Olympics and everyone clamoring to be the next victim, our virtue is measured by our compliance. Wear a mask, get a shot, do not interact. I've seen people put plastic on an airplane seat and wear a literal bubble the entire time. Meanwhile, I fly unmasked but under a thin veil to be undisturbed by the Karens. My activism leads me here because while I don't have my own children, I have nieces and nephews. My peers have kids. I unfortunately am a metaphorical Peter Pan because my life doesn't get demarcated by a child. I do, however, see the effect your policies have had on young minds around me. They're sad. These students complain of teachers scolding them for a mask slipping, bragging about their vaccine appointment, or bemoaning the unvaccinated. Your own policy exposes the unvaccinated personal medical status through additional testing. That's called discrimination, especially because the vaccinated can still spread this disease like those without. A child who is fussing with a mask is not paying attention to the curriculum. A child experiencing advanced acne from clogged pores is not self-confident. A child struggling to breathe at recess isn't being dramatic. A child learning to read facial expressions is being retarded by covered faces. These children are your responsibility and you're failing them. These children don't belong to you, but these parents trust you with their care and education. I'm childless, but even I can see the mistakes you're making. Children are the most resilient people in our population, yet you treat them like they're fine crystals. If a teacher wants to wear a mask or 2 or 3, let them. The same should be said if a teacher wants to wear no mask. As a matter of fact, this should be the policy for everyone. Your child's future is at stake, not mine. Whatever you decide to do, my activism will inspire them to be free thinkers, because that is the heart and at the core of my message. I don't speak for a fee. I speak from my heart. Listen to these parents, because I will again remind you that these children do not belong to you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Brianna Giles, and do you want to come up individually or together? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brianna Giles, and first of all, my first topic will be on like the plexiglass around the desks students have to have in their classrooms. Like, why would we need them if you're already making students wear masks? Like, I get it that it can capture the spit when you like cough or like when you sneeze, it can catch the germs, but it makes it hard to see the board if you're sitting in the middle or the back of the room, since the plexiglass reflects off the other plexiglasses that are next to it. The backpacks on the students, when they put them on, it knocks the plexiglass over and it can fall and knock over other ones. And it can end up like hurting a student if the student's sitting there and it falls on them. And students tend to like draw and break the little pegs that hold the plexiglass up. And schools will probably have to like pay money for things like those for a long time because students keep breaking them. And the plexiglass can get very slimy and yucky for like uncertain reasons. My next topic will be on masks. Does it really stop the virus or does not? Stay home if you're not feeling well, like everyone else says. I've seen friends who've been dealing with masks, and I can tell they don't like it. For my personal thing, masks, and it's hard to breathe when you're in class. Like I'm diagnosed with asthma. So is mask really helping children or is it just causing breath problems? We even have to wear masks outside and during PE, which, to be honest, I don't think is safe for us, especially for running. And think of us younger students. Will we ever go back to a life maskless? Will we even remember a life without living with masks?
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Laura Giles. And Beatrice Giles.
There you go.
Thank you. Beatrice is going to read the letter after me because I timed myself and it was 6 minutes. So she's going to read 3 and I'll read 3.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So good evening. I've already presented numerous articles that show the lack of protection of the cloth masks and the harm they do to children. I've advocated for this board to adopt a healthy children's resolution. It was put on the agenda in October and 2 members voted to approve and 2 members voted to oppose. It's a shame it wasn't passed as it was in over 40 other districts in the state. I have with me those resolutions, hard copies for you guys to look at.
Thank you.
This resolution that was put forward did not require any action to be taken by the board that would have resulted in a loss of funding. It simply carried the concerns of the parents up to the county and state officials regarding the harmful effects of masking children. Now things have escalated to vaccine mandates. The governor issued this mandate based on the protection of public health. A simplified definition of public health is it is something that protects me, and by doing it, protects you. It's been widely documented that fully vaccinated people and fully vaccinated people with boosters can still contract COVID and transmit COVID to others. This means the vaccination is no longer a public health benefit. It is a personal health benefit, and it should be a personal choice. The governor also wants to include the COVID vaccine among the 10 required vaccines for the children to attend in-person education. The difference is that the other 10 vaccines are all FDA approved. The COVID vaccine is still under an emergency use authorization. The governor also fails to recognize natural or acquired immunity. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I contracted COVID in October from my friends who were fully vaccinated. I've recovered and I have no plans to get a vaccine for a virus I've already had and recovered from. My children have also had COVID and recovered, and I do not plan to vaccinate them. This means that in the fall, they will not be allowed to attend school if you don't take action now. I urge you to strongly consider what you're being asked to implement. You will be denying an in-person education to children based on political opinions and not science. Our leaders are finally starting to recognize that COVID is endemic. This means we need to learn how to live with it. They're also beginning to say publicly what many of us have known for several months. The vaccines do not prevent contracting or transmitting COVID. They only offer protection from severe outcomes. Children have a 0.01% chance of dying of COVID. They literally have a greater risk from dying of drowning, dying in a car accident, or even committing suicide, which is a real threat right now with the mental health crisis. Finally, I want you to look in the face of real children. not numbers on a page. These are the faces of children that will be denied an in-person education. Healthy children who are eager and excited to go to school and learn and play with their friends. You're deceiving yourselves if you think we're the only family that will not get their children vaccinated. I will not put them back in Zoom school. I'll take my children 6 hours to the east where they can go to school in person without a vaccine and probably without masks. I don't think I'm alone in this. I believe you're looking at a decline in enrollment, resulting in a decline in funding in the fall. I urge you to consider signing Kevin Kiley's letter to the legislature. I urge you to take action now. Take our concerns up the chain of command to our county health officials and our state health officials. Please don't fail us again.
Thank you very much. Mr. Conti, would you mind grabbing the hard copies? Mrs. Giles, would you? Thank you very much.
Hello, I am also a Giles. I'm going to read to you a letter drafted by Kevin Kiley to the state legislator in opposition of the vaccine mandate. I ask you to add your name to this letter along with Mr. Giles, who has already signed. Dear California State Legislator, regarding the return to local decision-making authority and reconsideration of proposed vaccination mandate. As elected school board trustees of California school districts and county boards of education, we have worked with state and local health departments to keep our schools open. For nearly 2 years, we have followed the issued requirements to prioritize the health and safety of our students. Our districts have operated in-person learning safely since reopening, many since fall of 2020, without ever needing to close a campus due to COVID-19, without a COVID-19 vaccination mandate. However, we now have seen firsthand the growing mental health crisis among children and must in all decisions weigh the need for normalcy, acknowledging and responsibility to protect not only the physical, but also the social, emotional, and mental health of our students. Parents, including COVID-19 vaccinated and pro-vaccination parents, have expressly shared that they are uncomfortable subjecting their children to a vaccination for which there is no longitudinal data. We support staff and families maintaining the choice and freedom to obtain the COVID-19 vaccine for themselves and their children, but believe the governor's proposed vaccination mandate removes choice from the equation by forcing individuals to submit to the mandate or lost access to in-person instruction if they are students and their jobs if they are staff. Therefore, we believe that parent guardian choice in vaccination and other health decisions is crucial. We believe that staff choice in vaccination and other health decisions is critical. While we understand the goals of the governor and the California Department of Public Health to stop the spread of COVID-19, we believe the governor's proposed K-12 student vaccine mandate is ill-advised and imposition to the educational and social-emotional goals of the state of our districts. Therefore, we urge the governor to reconsider and rescind the proposed vaccine mandate and the state legislature not to implement a vaccine mandate as a condition of in-person instruction and employment in grades K-12. Additionally, we accept the end of the state of emergency no later than March 31st, 2022. To return to full local control and decision-making authority back to local school boards. We expect all masking, testing, and vaccination mandates to terminate at the time to allow return to normal school activities as consistent with our local conditions on April 1st, 2022 at the latest. Our children have carried this burden for too long. Statewide masking, testing, and vaccine mandates are not the answer. We're asking for your support to allow us to return normalcy to our schools. Our students, educators, and families need your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Jeremy Maldonado.
Good evening. I'm a concerned parent and an Antelope Valley resident for 35 years. I've raised my children here and I work in this valley. I'm here today to speak up for the countless children that are stuck in the mess you all have created. I don't pretend to know you personally, and I'm not here to debate who is right and who is wrong. The beauty of America is we all have always had our own choice and opinions, and that's what makes all of us unique. You need to remember where we all came from. I'm sure you all chose to go into education at some point because you have the love of education in your heart. Sadly, as we all try to navigate through this difficult time, it seems as though that feeling has started to fade. The youth of this nation rely on us to teach them how to navigate through life, and I say we because we have all continued to let this go for too long. Do any of you remember a bullying policy when we were in school? Or having to wear certain clothes? So many fragile kids depressed in your classrooms? I sure don't. I ask you to put yourselves in the horrible conditions you're forcing these children into think, how would I have turned out? Would you be where you are today? Anti-bullying campaigns, inclusion, mental health concerns, and social skills are drilled into these children, and yet here you are allowing the bullying to continue, creating more mental health concerns by making students hide who they are behind a mask that doesn't work any better than not wearing a mask. Children need social skills. They need interaction between their peers. They need to see facial expressions and emotions. Again, they are being forced to hide behind a mask, and it's going to have a lifelong effect. Give them the same chances we all had at their age. Give them their basic right that we all have, free will. Please unmask our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Mickey Martinez.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Mickey Martinez, and I am a 19-year teacher for the Lancaster School District. I'm here tonight to encourage you to give parents and staff members the right to choose whether or not they wear masks. I take my job as an educator seriously, despite any targets that might be placed on my back for speaking out to protect kids. I adhere to all the California standards for the teaching profession. I would like to speak to Standard 2, creating and maintaining effective environments for student learning, specifically 2.3, establishing and maintaining learning environments that are physically, intellectually, and emotionally safe. The mandates that the health department are recommending school districts follow are causing teachers as well as other staff members to go against this standard. Wearing a mask indoors and outdoors is both physically and emotionally unsafe. With all due respect, I am the adult in the room that these parents entrusted their children with, not you. Masking kids all day, causing them to rebreathe their carbon dioxide in masks filled with germs is physically unsafe. Masking kids while they play at recess and during physical education is physically unsafe. Masking kids with asthma who need fresh air is physically unsafe. Masking kids with anxiety is physically and emotionally unsafe. Masking kids all day is not only emotionally unsafe, it is emotionally abusive. As a school board, you can choose to give parental and staff choice on mask usage. By asking teachers to enforce these physically and emotionally unsafe masking policies, you are not only putting children's lives at risk, you are opening our district and us teachers and staff members up to be held personally liable for having to enforce these policies. If a child passes out, has a bad asthma attack, or God forbid worse, you up there will not be faced with the scrutiny and endless guilt of having put a child's life at risk. You are asking us, no, you are telling us that we have to risk our jobs and kids' lives for these mandates, which are not laws and not mandates in which none of them make any sense. Who is going to protect us when something bad happens? I asked my union president this question. She did not have an answer, but referred me to a couple other district employees whom I will be reaching out to. I am begging that you think about that. Really think about that when deciding whether or not to give parental and staff choice for mask usage. Everyone is so quick to say we have to comply because the health department said so. That is not so. The problem is this is so new that people are afraid to go against the health department. Please put kids and staff first. Think locally. The mandates come from LA County. Think Lancaster. What is best for Lancaster? Is putting kids and staff's lives at risk to stay in compliance with the county the best thing for all of us? I don't believe it is. As a teacher, sadly, I am forced to follow the directives of my principal as well as the policies our school district is choosing to make us enforce despite my reservations and going against my instinct to protect kids. This is why I'm speaking out. As a parent, I've taken back my right to decide what is best for my child, and I pulled him out of the amazing school I teach at in Lancaster School District because masking kids all day is not in the best interest of my son's physical or mental well-being. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Kristen Welch.
Good evening, board members. I first want to thank you for your time and for being given the opportunity to address the board. I come before you tonight as a very concerned parent and member of the community. I would first like to point out that I was here for the January 11th, 2022 board meeting last week, and I have some concerns that I would like to address on record in regard to that meeting. Before allowing this meeting to continue, I want to point out that today, all of the live streams appear to be up and running just fine. The last time I spoke, everything also appeared to be up and running at that time as well. I can actually prove and demonstrate this in a video that I was very fortunate enough to have had captured by my boyfriend. Okay. Had he not been here to support me and do so, there would be no record of me addressing my grievances to this board other than what you conveniently write in your minutes. Okay. I have addressed this concern in writing to the board. I know you have 30 days to get back to me. We'll see how that goes. I want to know why both the YouTube and Facebook live stream were both conveniently down at the beginning of the aforementioned meeting when I have revealed that technical difficulties were not happening at that time I was speaking. I understand tech jargon. I will be happy to talk with anybody who wants to explain that to me. I'm a ham radio certified. I have all the knowledge of anything. I know your Wi-Fi was up. My phone was connected to it. I also want to point out that mandates, as another person just pointed out, are not laws. And based on this single premise alone, we have a basis for argument in favor of pushing back against these insane rules in regards to masks, testing, and vaccines. It's not a vaccine, but I won't go there. We need to count on you, our community and school leaders, to take a stand against this type of legislation and protect our children and our teachers. It is a direct violation of both their constitutional and their civil rights. These matters are being litigated, of course, in courts across the country. I'm sure we all know about the Supreme Court ruling. We do not yet know the long-term consequences of these mandates, and the risk-benefit ratio tells us that who? Children, more than any other demographic, are going to suffer from complications due to these unjust and insane rules. The Columbia University VAERS statistic reports as of January 1st, 2022, that adverse reactions are being underreported at a ratio of 1 to 20, which means that there are 20 times more cases of adverse reactions due to these jabs than what is being reported to their system. Yet you are okay with peddling and encouraging these to the staff that teach our kids. What are we teaching our kids? Now I get it. You're being told you got to go off LA County recommendations. And yes, these are recommendations. Yet these numbers go off of a flawed PCR and antigen testing system. Okay. The CDC has even agreed on this statement. Yet we allow our leaders to entertain their magical numbers calculations so that we can shut our schools down and our way of life down and our communities and enforce atrocious laws that violate our rights to medical freedom and autonomy. I would like to call on any members of the Antelope Valley who may be residents of the Lancaster and surrounding communities who are listening to this meeting to contact their local city council members and authority, urge them to draft and vote on their own ordinance and legislation and fight for your freedoms in our communities. I'll be happy to point you in the right direction to locate the proper outlets where you can stand up and be heard. I want to thank you again very much for the time to address my concerns in a very vehement manner. I hope you make proper choices for the students, parents, and teachers in your community who are counting on you to be their voices and their advocates. I also want to add that I was asked after speaking last week by a Larry Freise, I might butcher this, Freise, to participate in the Health and Safety Committee that I do understand is ran out of the superintendent's office. I'm happy to do so and help you, but if you help us. If at any time my grievances as a parent or individual become a conflict of interest during that participation, I'll be happy to remove myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the speaker request this evening.
Okay, thank you very much for all your input and participation. We greatly appreciate hearing your opinions and input on regarding these issues, and we will be taking those into consideration. Thank you very much. Next, we have individual action item, Superintendent, adoption of resolution 2021-22, board member compensation for missed meetings for Sandra Price. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Diane Groom, second by Keith Giles. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, next we have individual action items, business. 15A, approval of award of bid for the Group 2 HVAC wall mount replacement project to Circulating Air Incorporated. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dwayne, second by Keith. And do we have any discussion or comments?
Local company, right?
That's correct.
And the lowest bidder.
And by law, we had to pick them because they were the lowest bidder.
Win-win, I think.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. It's great. Going to be great to see those all those units updated. That's fantastic. Next, we have item 16, consent agenda items, superintendent, items 16A to 16S. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Keith Giles, second by Diane Grooms. Okay. Items listed under the consent calendar of superintendent are consistent with adopted policies and approved practices of the district and deemed routine and customary in nature. Board members may request that any item be withdrawn from the consent calendar and considered separately. The item will be removed from the motion to approve and discussed immediately following action on the consent calendar. Do we have any questions or discussion on any of these items? I wanted to first off again say we really appreciate the agreement with Lamar Outdoor Advertising for getting the information out regarding our district. Definitely with that one. And also I had a question about the CASA agreement, item D.
Yes.
So is that state or county funding? Are we kind of acting as a sub person for CASA to help them carry out those services, or how does that work?
CASA received a grant through the county Department of Public Health, Los Angeles County. And as a result of that, they're able to work with local organizations. They've worked with AV Partners for Health. They have worked with Lancaster School District. But for CASA to come in and be able to do that, they have an MOU or an agreement. This agreement allows them to work with us so that we can offer extra hours to family ambassadors on Saturdays when they have their vaccine clinics, as well as provide the location and the custodial support and administrators to oversee the events. So CASA contracts with Albertsons to actually do the vaccines. And then CASA staff comes up and they organize it. They send out flyers, and whoever would like a vaccine that day is welcome to go over there, and there's no charge. And because it is grant funded, they can also offer incentives to people that might be interested. So I know that sometimes they are able to provide a food truck and gift cards to participants. And it's usually from 9 to 12 on selected Saturdays. So it doesn't interfere with anything that we're doing at our normal school day.
And then we would be reimbursed for any
Absolutely.
costs that we incur.
Absolutely. So we are fully reimbursed for any cost that is paid for oversight or support. So and the family ambassadors do an amazing job with just welcoming people, showing them where to line up, making sure if they need some water or where to sit, and just kind of providing that information to the families while they're waiting. And Albertsons does an amazing job. They provide 2 or 3, or even this last one, they provided 5 different technicians to do shots so that they could move the line as quickly as possible. It's my understanding the last clinic, they were actually able to administer close to 150 vaccines for people that were interested between 9 and 12.
And are those located at our school sites, or?
They are at selected sites. So they'll do one, they'll do a site, and then 3 weeks later, they're back at a site. So if people need a second shot, they can go back to the same location. They're not at every site, so it just kind of moves around.
And they're also at Albertsons too. I mean,
Yes.
you can go to Albertsons, like my wife just got a shingles vaccine. You can just walk in and
Absolutely.
they'll give you whatever you want.
They will give you whatever you want. So
They're very accommodating. They're very nice.
they are. And one of the reasons that the Department of Public Health has looked to local organizations is, for whatever reason, schools are located in different communities in Lancaster. We have pockets in our district that are still under the average when it comes to testing and when it comes to the number of vaccines that have been administered. So the partnership allows the vaccine clinics to kind of come into the community where people are. And it's been successful.
To alleviate transportation barriers.
Yes. So that's one of the reasons we kind of move it around to different pockets in our district so that different folks have access to it.
And this will be a program for this till the end of this school year. Is that?
It's until the grant runs out. So originally it started with the intent that it was just because it was before vaccines had even started. The original intent was just to give information about COVID, and it was designed for a year. Now, I think that was from December of 20 to December of 21, but in that window of time, vaccines became available. So the shift and focus shifted, but now the Department of Public Health has extended a grant. There's different grants that have been coming out. So right now, I think they have a grant through April and another one that goes through August, but basically it's the same kind of work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So keep them busy.
It keeps them busy. As long as people continue to come, then I'm sure they will make every effort to make it available in different places.
Okay, great. Okay, I believe that's all the questions I had. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I'd like to comment on the adoption of the proclamation for African American History Month. We're more than halfway through the month, and yet the amazing thing is in the newspaper every single day and on TV every single day during this month, there's been very, very great articles. A couple of days ago, yesterday, was Martin Luther King's birthday. And of course, we got reminded of the speeches he's made not only in Washington, D.C., but at the churches that he was a pastor at. Also, Emmett Till and his family and the donations he made to the civil rights movement. It's a shame it's halfway through the month. I think that the school district certainly believes in the equity to all students. And we want to be sure that this proclamation is brought up and so that each and every one of us can take a look at the history and be very proud of our heritage. I'm not African American, and yet I grew up in the Midwest with African American history, and we got along, and I'm just hoping we all can continue to do that. So thank you.
Yes, great job with the proclamations. Thank you, Mr. Wynn, for African American History Month. But I believe it's that February when it actually is recognized.
Yes, it is actually recognized the month of February. This month, there's a lot of attention because of Martin Luther King's celebration, and we just celebrated that yesterday, had that holiday yesterday. So there's a lot of discussion and a lot of history that's being presented. I noticed a lot over the weekend myself. So we're very appreciative of that. I know locally there was a celebration with the city and the Justice Sunday group, and they typically do a very good job with the high school district students presenting information on African American history. So want to commend them and a lot of good efforts that go on to celebrate Justice Sunday during that week where there's community service efforts. So there's a lot being done in our community this month. And I'm sure we'll continue to see a lot more in the school districts and in the community next month as we celebrate African American History Month in February.
Just a shout out to all of our donors that were so generous. You know, Jeanette Taggart every year, and quite a few people in here that donated clothing and toys and gift cards, and very generous community that we have.
Great, thank you. All right. Also on here is adoption of proclamation for School Counseling Week. So we look forward to celebrating that in the month ahead as well. And we've seen throughout our board meetings all the work that school counselors are doing. So keep up the great work there too. All right. With that, we'll call it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Okay, next we have item 17A to 17G. Items listed under the consent calendar of business are consistent with adopted policies and approved practices of the district and deemed routine and customary in nature. Board members may request that any item be withdrawn from the consent calendar and considered separately. The item will be removed from the motion to approve and discussed immediately following action in the consent calendar. Do we have a motion for item 17?
So moved.
Hey, Diane Grooms. We have a second?
Second.
Dwayne Wynn. All right, any discussion or questions on the business items? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Next, we have consent agenda items, educational services, items 18A to 18F. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Keith, second by Dwayne. All right, any discussion or questions?
Welcome back, Jamal. We have the 365 Knowledge Bowl coming back.
I had a question about that as well. I saw on there that they were saying it was to be virtual. Is it completely virtual, or is it going to be at a school site? I was kind of wondering how that was going to work.
Yeah, we did it virtually last year, so we're going to offer that same format again this year. We have 5 sites overall participating over 2 nights, so 3 elementary and then 2 middle each night.
Okay, so completely virtual again this year. Okay. Okay, I know it's an excellent program. I'm always amazed at
Great
questions, the enthusiasm, participation. Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Item 19A to 19C, consent agenda items, human resources. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Diane, second by Dwayne. Great to see we're getting agreements with the different universities for the teaching programs.
Okay. Did see a retirement that came in the personnel actions, and that is Ruby. I don't know if everybody knew that, but Ruby is retiring. Big loss after many years. Larry, how many years?
I believe 2010. So, and that's just her time with our district. She has a extensive service history with other districts. So it's a lifetime of education and school finance. And we will miss her, dear.
Yeah. Thank you. And
She's not leaving until June 30. We're not letting her.
And for Lexi, it did look like Mike Davis has been busy with all the new hires.
Between Mike and Charles, it's a constant train of new folks and new positions. So we are blessed by the work that they do, served faithfully by all of the folks in HR. Thank you for acknowledging them.
All right. Very good with that. Call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Okay, next item 20, consent agenda items, innovation and technology services, items 20A to 20C.
So moved.
Moved by Keith Giles.
Second.
Second by Dwayne Wynn. I have a question. What was the total for the Microsoft Office subscription? Did we have a total for that?
I believe it was like $45,000.
And that's for 1 year, is that correct?
That's for 1 year for the Microsoft licenses. We only have to pay for the adult licenses in the district, and they give us everything for the kids, but it's only for the employees.
Okay.
And Mr. TV, the action item does show $49,010.52. So it should be right. That's why we make a great team.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Items 21, legislative and policy discussion. We have second reading of update to board policy on the COVID-19 mitigation plan, second reading of update to board policy emergency schedules, and first reading of update to board bylaw meetings and notices. Any comments on those items? Okay. Well, that brings us to comments from the board. Let's start with Mr. Giles.
Mr. Giles, is that what you said? Okay. Okay. Congratulations to our Red Ribbon Week winners. It's always fun to see the kids' drawings, and apparently I don't have any artists anymore, but I used to. Actually, Beatrice, who spoke, is a very good artist. All my kids say, "Hey, can you draw me this, Beatrice?" And she whips it right out. So some people have all the luck and some don't. Thanks for the certificate for acknowledging board members. I just put stuff up. I just put the Fulton and Alsbury thing up. So now I don't know. This can go somewhere else, but those heavy ones I have to put somewhere where they're not going to kill me if a earthquake. So I just got that up literally, I think a day or two ago, because I got to get this up. Wanted to thank all of our audience comments. We definitely have to make some decisions. We're there's half of the people were my family, but I have to live with little kids and how they're learning and what's going on. And so I see it firsthand. I try to bring that to you guys, but there's obviously some concern in the community that I think we need to look at. How long are we going to do this for? I know we're going to have new variants. It's going to, once then we get done with the Omicron, there's going to be another one. It's going to be going on forever. So we have to kind of figure out a way to normalize and off ramp some of these things, because the county doesn't seem to want to do that. So we may have to look to come up with some creative ways, think outside the box. I know we're trying to comply. That's what, we want to comply, but sometimes we need to look at what's the best for our kids. So that's why we're here, is what's best for kids. So with that, I'll pass it on. Thank you.
Okay, excellent, Mr. Giles. Next, Mrs. Grooms.
Hi. I also wanted to say it was such a delight to see the kids with their Red Ribbon Week entries. I love watching the development of artistic abilities from kindergarten where they have the biggest fingers in the world on their hands. And as they develop up, they start to developing cartoon things, and then they personify words with eyelashes on the word "look." We're drug free, and it's just fun to watch that artistic development along with the message. And I think someone touched on the diversity and inclusiveness shown in those drawings was great. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think one of the things that we've missed the most since March of 2020 is having our kids here in the audience, to be able to hear from them and see their excitement about learning. That is definitely something that we all miss. Antelope Valley College, by the way, has been completing their $350 million bond issue over the last 2 years. And because of COVID, a lot of their campus has been closed. So they have been on a fast track to build some of the buildings. You would not recognize the campus right now. It's beautiful. And they opened their spring semester last week, and unfortunately had to close their campus this week because they had 4 staff members who reported positive with COVID. So unfortunately, there's ups and downs. And this is that time of year when it seems to be that we all get sicker easier. And a lot of it, I think, came out of the results of holiday time with, gatherings and that sort of thing. I also attended today the workshop regarding the governor's budget projections. And I believe that it's very positive and favorable for our district in the changes and some of the highlights that they presented. So I look forward to hearing more detailed information on that. But I kind of breathed a sigh of relief on that particular one. And regarding the masking policies for the kids, I am very conscientious, and I'm listening to everyone, and I'm receiving emails from a lot of folks. And this is something that we're unfortunately having to deal with because of the health of our entire community. And I have so many different places to get information. The federal government, the CDC, the state office, the county health, the county board of education office. And to me, I'm not scientific enough to know the right answer, and I need some of these leaders to provide me with a guidance. I have to be concerned with our children, their families, our staff, and their families, and then our community at large. So it's not just children. I know I don't want children wearing these masks, but it is, to me, a cautious reality that I wish to go forward with for a little while longer. And, but I firmly believe everyone should have the opportunity to express their views. But as a standard, I really feel my hands are tied to the higher leaders in this situation. So that's where I stand. Thank you.
Excellent. Great comments, Keith and Diane. Next, we have Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. Teepee. You can't say enough about the Red Ribbon Art students. Jordan, thank you. That's a great program. And thank your secretary for doing all she did. It sounds like it was a lot of work. But you were right. Seeing those pictures up on the billboards really makes a difference. It lets people know that the kids are thinking about that. And it means a lot. So we increased 7. Is that right, Rebecca? Or we lost 7 this last...
We lost 17, but...
17?
Let's see. But we gained 293 from the same time last year.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping the advertisement and Lamar and some of the other things we're doing within the district are bringing these students back. And I agree with Diane that I'm not a scientist that can figure all of these variants out, Delta, Omicron, the COVID itself. But the district is not, or the board are not the ones who make these decisions for us. These are decisions made by the State Department of Health, County Department, County Office of Education. We are going with what they say. And, whether we like it or not, we're obligated to do what is directed for the students, the staff, and the administration of the district. So, we can listen to the information all day long, but it's not something that, as a board, we can make no changes to what's being directed to us, as much as we might like to. And on another note, I did attend a memorial service to one of our employees that passed away this last weekend, Mike Sisson from El Dorado School. And just so you know, it was well attended by the teachers from El Dorado. And he will be well missed. Very, very missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. And in line with what Mr. Nguyen said, we are following a county and a state guidelines for our school district. And so I recommend parents and everyone who presented tonight, if you can also take your concerns to the state and to the county. I myself do understand how they extended the mask thing, I think because of the Omicron wave, and hopefully that'll come to a close here pretty soon. And I'm looking forward to the day when we can end the mask mandate myself. So I'm hoping that will be soon. But we do get their directives from the school board, the county school board, and the state and the LA County. I'm also concerned about the vaccine mandate, and I know that's a divisive issue. And I think if they impose that on our district, a lot of people will be upset, as we've seen, just from comments already. So I do agree with the resolution that was presented tonight, and I would like to see that brought to our next school board meeting so that we can sign that, send it to the state, because I think that would put us in a very precarious position to have to try and force a vaccine mandate at this time when a lot of people are very divided on that, especially for children. So I would like to see that just so we can send that message to the state if that's what we want to do, and let them know that I think it would divide our district and it would cause some people to leave our district just because of that issue by itself. But great discussion, and keep in mind, our main thing is for the safety of the students and the staff and the community, and we will continue to do what is best in that area. So with that, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teepee. I too just want to commend the Red Ribbon Week winners and all of the participants and teachers that supported our students in participating in this event and just talking about the importance of being drug-free. So thank you to all the teachers and congratulations, and thank you to all the students that participated and to all of our winners this evening. I also want to recognize and thank all of the speakers. I appreciate the manner in which they came in and how nicely they articulated their concerns to the board. So thank you very much for taking the time to be here. This stack is for you, so I will make sure that this information is shared with all of the board members. And for clarification, Mr. Teepee, you have mentioned bringing a resolution back to the board for discussion. So I just, for clarification, want to know, is it about vaccine mandate or about masking?
Yeah, it was about the vaccine mandate.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will start working on that. So I can't promise it'll be for February 1st, but I will do my best.
I would like to give one extra update regarding our missing board member, Sandra Price. We were pleased to hear that she was able to attend her son's wedding a couple of weeks ago. And this was a very important milestone for her to be there. So she is improving, and I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you very much. That is good news. Thought about her greatly during the holidays and sent some flowers to let her know that. So I'm encouraged to hear that. I also just would like to ask the board if they would consider closing the board meeting this evening in honor of a teacher, one of our teachers at Endeavor that we lost, Sharon Garcia. That happened over the weekend, so it's with great sadness, and she will be missed. We appreciate all of her contributions and dedication and commitment to our students and to our district, but would like to just take some time to honor her in closing this evening. So her name, again, was Sharon Garcia, teacher at Endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will certainly honor Ms. Garcia. And with that, we will adjourn our meeting at 7:23. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Giles, second by Ms. Grooms. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Have a great evening, everyone, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.